And man, it's changed the way that I do my coaching calls. Like that's just done for me.
You're listening to the Streamline Success Show. I'm your host, Dagmar. In this podcast, we talk about how AI and automation can help busy coaches like you simplify their online businesses. We share practical advice that you can start using immediately. So, welcome to the Streamline Success Show. Today's guest is Jared Fracker, and Jared is a sales and leadership coach with a strong entrepreneurial background. He built his first seven-figure business during college with no startup capital, and with this, he earned national recognition for leadership development. Jared is passionate about building successful teams and company culture. Now he focuses on coaching others to overcome challenges and achieve their goals. I'm pretty excited about this episode. Let's hear how Jared uses AI to enhance his coaching and build a thriving community now. So, welcome to the
Yeah.
show, Jared.
Thank you, Dagmar. Thank you. That was perfect. That was beautiful. It was, almost like I wrote it myself.
I've
So,
seen that somewhere.
yeah, right. No, thank you. Thank you for the kind remarks and introduction. Yeah, I mean, AI, right? I mean, most people
Yes.
know what it is by now, especially if they're following you, right? How does it apply to, business? Like, I feel like that's a good theme for today, right?
Yes, definitely, because that's what we do, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I am all ears, ready to receive your questions.
cool. So, first of all, can you share a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur, starting with your first business in college, because that is pretty impressive. So, what motivated you to step into the world of entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So, gosh, it seems like forever ago now, but, I needed this thing that, a lot of people probably have heard of it. It's called money. So, yeah, college is expensive. University, I think it's called a lot in a lot of places, but, at the end of the day, I was just trying to pay for school.
Uh-huh.
And, the $10 an hour, like little minimum wage jobs, just like was not going to get the amount that I needed, to stay in school. So, and I'm smart, but I'm not like, we'll pay for your school smart, right? So I didn't have that luxury, but yeah, so I started a business in college and just really, I mean, it's kind of boring to be honest, painting houses, like knocking on doors and asking people, hey, can I paint your house this summer? And it was February and snowing at the time. So
Oh.
a lot of people are like, dude, what are you doing here? Why are you on my porch? Right. Uh, but yeah, so I did that and we did pretty well the first year, you know, and I was like, wow, like this was fun, just I like this business thing and kind of grew it and quickly got to the point where I no longer did a lot of the painting, but I was, hiring managers to then hire painters and crews and building sales teams and, doing all this fun business stuff. And I was like, I'm learning more here than I am in school. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was hard. I was like staying up. So I was also in a fraternity, so like a social club. And what I would do is I lived with a handful of other fraternity brothers where I would wake up on the weekends and go out and do like painting estimates, like go sell jobs. So I would get up at like 7 or 8 o'clock, 6 or 7 o'clock to be out there by 8 o'clock to to do a full day of sales, do it again on Sunday. But as soon as I got home, when it got dark, I was immediately handed a drink and a part like we threw parties. So the party started. I didn't go to sleep till like 4 o'clock in the morning and then you get up and start it all over again, right? And that was
Well,
the weekends. And that's how I started to build the business. And man, it was crazy, but it was fun. And I learned a lot, unfortunately, by a lot of mistakes, which, now I share how not to do what I did so you can get to where you want to be faster. So that was business one, sold it and started another one, did really well. Wasn't a fan of the industry, sold it, and then started coaching businesses, and it was kind of a match made in heaven. And then I just did more of that. So here we are.
Yeah. That's pretty much of determination, I would say.
Yeah.
And obviously, entrepreneurship is something that you were born with. So others are struggling a lot more with that, I would say. So if I look at my business,
Yeah, I would say I don't know if I was born with it, right? But because what you can boil it down to, Dagmar, is like if you're comfortable being uncomfortable, you'll probably do well as an entrepreneur. But if you're not and you have to learn that skill, yeah, you might struggle a little bit, right?
yeah,
Because you're not used to all of that. And it's kind of like you have to build that thick skin and all that kind of stuff. And it's scary at times and
it
unpredictable and all that kind of
is.
stuff. But once you do it, over and over again, it's, it becomes your comfort zone. So,
Yeah, I needed a
yeah.
little bit longer. So, uh,
Yeah.
um, yeah, my excuse is I was in a corporate job for 24 years, and
Mm,
I was just, I was, I grew up with being somebody working for others.
hmm.
I didn't have any role model that
Yeah.
showed me how to do a business or something like that. And then I
Hmm.
was this long in a corporate job. So it was all new when I started, and it was really like jumping into cold water. It
Hmm.
was hard.
Yeah.
But I love it. I don't want to go back into a corporate job at all. So no
Right,
way.
because they'll make you do work on 3 o'clock on Fridays when, you just want to start your weekend, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Not that I really have a weekend, but yes,
Yeah. I
there are
mean, it just looks
some,
different.
yeah,
It looks
there are
different, right?
some things that are important to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So very
So,
cool.
yeah. How did you first get introduced to AI and to Fathom, and what made you decide to implement that into your business?
Yeah. I mean, I think I heard about it when like the chat GPT craze kind of went on, right? That's probably the first that I actually started to understand like what it was. And, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like went deep into it, but I definitely looked at it, was kind of looking at some of the different tools. I'm all about how can I make my life easier? And
Yeah.
to me, it sounded like, hey, here's this thing that's designed to make your life easier.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess I'll look into this, right? So, I guess I first started using it when, I don't know, I tried a few things that, you could tell it was just very early stages and they were clunky and didn't really work out the best, and you would try to mess with it and I'm like, that's not what I wanted. So it got frustrating, and then I came across the Fathom tool, which I was telling you about, which we can dive into today. And man, it's changed the way that I do my coaching calls. I mean, I do a ton of coaching
Mhm.
calls. That's what we do for our business. And I went from sitting there like trying to type out all these notes while I'm trying to sit here and listen to someone and have a conversation to, man, like that's just done for me. And like it was pretty accurate. And, I've been using it for about a year now, I would say.
Mhm.
So
Well,
much so, I use it so much so now that I became an ambassador for them, and I recommend it to a ton of people, and I genuinely just like love what they do. And yeah, I mean, it's cut my time from like number one, having to try to remember everything to now it's done for me. And the coaching notes that I send out and have to keep for our record went from like 15 minutes, 20 minutes for every call down to like 3. And I could get it sent off back into an email, back to them like with the recording, with hyperlinks, with exactly like, everything outlined to where it just made it better for everyone. And there's a ton of stuff you can do. I haven't really, used it to its full capabilities, but man, for what I use it for, like especially like sales calls and stuff that I do now, I use it on all the sales calls. And if someone's like, well, I don't know, and then I can like send them a hyperlink and say, well, you said this, right? I can hold them accountable, which is what my group's
mhm.
all about. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I love it, and it's cut down my sending notes from like 20 minutes, 8 calls a day. So, 3, 4 hours to down to like an hour or less, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, so that is great.
Yeah.
So for those who are not really familiar with what this tool does, can you briefly explain what it does besides just transcribing the call, which is already a lot?
Yeah.
So,
So in short, what it does is it will take this and chunk it down into number one, it will take the transcription and you'll have that for record. So you can use it to do captions, upload for captions. You can use it for whatever you want, right? For copy in an email, you can use it however you want. But you can also have the AI generate a summary. And back when I started using it, it was just like one summary. It was like chronological, this is how the meeting went. Here's your summary. Well, now they have, a multitude of different templates, we'll call it. And you click that, it regenerates the summary, same meeting, different summary on what type of meeting it is, whether it's like a one-to-one, a sales meeting, a coaching call.
Mhm.
There's a ton of different formats, like a recruiting call, onboarding. Like, I mean, I don't even know how many they have in there, but it's a good amount. So, and like I said, it's 99% accurate. Like sometimes I don't even have to change anything before I send it out. Usually I'll tweak a couple things just because I like them in my language. And I'm like, no, I said this. They didn't say that. And it has that a little backwards sometimes. I mean, but that's like 1%. And it takes me like 10 seconds to fix that rather than like 15, 20 minutes to type up the whole notes. So yeah, I mean, that's what it is and how I use it. And they've got all kinds of features, but in short, it takes the meeting and summarizes it in whichever way you want to basically have that for, storage for yourself, for future meetings, to go back to, whatever.
Yeah, and I guess your coaching clients love this too, because a client of mine, she was complaining that she doesn't even know what we are talking about two weeks
Oh,
before.
yeah.
And I sent her the whole video, but she didn't like to watch the whole video again.
Yes. Oh my
So,
gosh. Yes. And I used to have to do that. I'm like, I knew I told that person this, but where did I say it? So it's
mhm.
got the timestamps automatically. And yeah, all the person would have to do is pull up the notes, look at the summary. And if it says they were talking about accountability, then they would click that little hyperlink and it would take them right to that minute in the video, just like a timestamp does, but the summary is an actual summary of the call. So they don't even have to click into it. They could just read it,
Yeah,
and have that for the record. So very helpful.
it is. So we both can highly recommend something like that in your business. It
Yes.
makes life so much easier.
Yes.
Yes.
And so they just implemented a paid version. So it was free for the longest time. And then they included some like additional summaries, and you could highlight calls and, categorize it anything you want. So there's additional features now where they do have a paid version that I use. I think it's like, I don't know, maybe $15 a month US, something like that. So, I mean, it's not a lot, but man, does it save me a lot of time.
Yeah. So that is important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who cares about a few bucks if it saves a lot of time? Time is so much more precious. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the time to me, and honestly, just the headache of like, oh, like where is that again? What, like, just the frustration it causes me when I don't have that. It's worth it to me. So
It is. You have built not only one, you have built several successful businesses in the past from the ground up. So, how do you see, if you look into the future, how do you see AI fitting into building businesses and create business growth?
before or after they take over the world? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think. But yeah, how does it play into the future of business? Well, think about it. I just described a scenario where I had a problem and now I can take care of that problem in like 10% less or 10% of the time that it took me, right? I think that's just going to get faster and faster. And there's going to be more and more things that I don't want to say are automated, but are easier for business owners. I mean, just to where like think about Google and the internet, right? Like when it was optimized, like so much more information at your fingertips that you could
Hmm.
use as a tool in your tool belt to figure it out, right? Well, and then now Chat GPT and all this kind of stuff. And there's all these tools that are getting designed for specific purposes. So, I mean, hey, if you wanted to, you could design something like this that specifically solves your problem, whatever it is. So I think there's going to be a lot of that in the world with people who just have problems like the one I just mentioned. They're going to have their own problem and then either go to someone to get it solved, and it's going to be a need that creates a product like this, or they're just going to design it themselves and make it the best they possibly can because there's a need for it, and it will make someone's life easier. So I think that's the future: is business will get easier because of all the tools that we have. I, well, I don't think business will get easier. I think the way we do business will get easier.
Yeah, at least faster. So the experiences that I made in my life is that everything gets faster, but then you get a lot of things on top to do. So
Hmm.
it doesn't really save you time. In the beginning, yes, but then it covers up somehow. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we always find a way to fill the time allotted, right?
Yes,
So,
right. And then we do a lot of other things, I guess. So we will see
yes,
how this works out.
right.
Yeah. But there are other really interesting things happening right now, like communities that are popping up left and right. And everybody is excited. And I always say, I guess this is because of COVID, because we're so isolated at the time, and now people are
Hmm.
really seeking community somehow.
Yeah.
And you are in the process of setting up your own school community right now with the
Yes.
purpose to hold people accountable to their goals. So, why this community?
Yeah. So, in short, I started this for myself, selfishly. And I'll tell you the story because I was getting ready to launch this community. I was putting it all together. The idea came up, and I'm like, this is a need, and it's not just me that needs this. And, I deal with a lot of clients who face this problem too. And I decided I was going to make it. Well, that was in March or February. So, beginning of the year, it's now August, almost, you know, three-quarters of the year in. And the ironic thing is, the reason it didn't get launched was lack of accountability. So, so
That's
you could
funny.
argue that I need this the most, to do the things that I want to do. And that's the whole premise, Dagmar. It's like, okay, you have a goal, you're starting this community, you're starting this business, you want to get better at sales, want to, create a routine or habits in your life that help out, stop scrolling on your phone, whatever it is. You have this
Hmm.
goal, and it's one thing to have it and want to do it, but it's another thing to actually do what's required in order for that goal to become a reality. And most people, they start off like, look at the beginning of the year, how many people sign up for gym memberships and start exercising, 2 weeks later, 2 months later, like it's like it never happened. They're eating more cupcakes than, they were before.
Right.
And I think the same thing happens, with our goals outside of that. It's just we have all these dreams and aspirations, and we have the best intentions, but for some other reason, like this gets in the way, we'll just do this first. Oh, the conditions have to line up. When I have more time, I'll start doing that, or, I'll stop doing this after this happen, whatever it is. Stuff gets in the way, life happens, right? So the name of the group is Do It Now. It's a whole movement designed to get people to just do it now. Like whatever they have that they want to, achieve and work towards, like let's do the activity required to get there. Tell the world about it, meaning the people in the community, and we will do our best to hold you accountable to doing the things that you said you wanted to do in order to reach the goal that you said you wanted to reach.
Yeah.
And like I know as a coach, but it's a pretty common fact that like if we knew you did more of the stuff that produces income or generates income, you would probably make more money, right? Well, the
Yeah.
question is like, why don't we just do that? And people are
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
And sometimes
Well,
we're even sabotaging ourselves
yes, or
for whatever reason.
oh, that could never be me. I could never do that. Well, you have to make winning normal, right? Like winning
Yeah.
just is a normal thing that can be true for you, but hey, we've got to do the things that are necessary in order to get there. And that's what the group's all about. So, I'm just going to kind of let it design itself, but I do plan on having, some courses in there to kind of help you build some momentum and build the habit of accountability and work on your time management because everybody says I don't have any time and all this kind of stuff. Right. So that kind of stuff. And, if they need help implementing it, like, that's our business, right? One-on-one coaching, we can talk about that, see if it makes sense for them. But hey, if not, oh well, hopefully they actually use the group to do the things that they said they want to do and their life will get better.
Yes. Yeah. What I have realized is that when I have a plan that is as detailed as it goes down to daily actions, and I know exactly what I have to do today, then I go and do it. But if I have a goal far out that I set in the beginning of the year, so maybe I have it there for a week and then it lands somehow in the desk and then it's forgotten. So,
Yes, what you just said sums up, one of the corniest sayings I've probably ever heard, but the one of the most true. It's called the more specific, the more terrific.
oh,
Yeah, I know.
nice.
Silly,
Yeah.
right? But it's
Yeah.
true. What you just said was, hey, I'm going to get really specific on what I need to do, when I need to do it, when it needs done by, like all these things so you can prioritize and work it in to actually getting it done. And then sometimes all it takes is, you saying that to someone, hey, I'm going to do this by then, and them checking in a couple days before and be like, hey, did you do that thing yet? And they're like, no, or, whatever, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes that's all it takes. And other
Yeah.
times there's real reasons why someone is continuously falling short of their goals. And, that's some of the stuff that we work on in the one-on-one coaching. But nevertheless, like, most of the time it's just someone saying, hey, like you're going to do that, right? Did you do it? So,
Yeah. So we are so much more reliable if other
hmm,
people know when we told them what we do.
yes,
We lie to ourselves. So,
all the
but not to
time,
others.
all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what the group's designed for. And hopefully it helps a lot of people. And, we launch here at the end of the month. And I know you're on the wait list. So excited to see
Yeah.
you in there and use this to build your own thing. But
Yeah, I
man,
love that.
I'm pumped to help out more people who just need help doing the things that they want to do.
Yeah. And I've seen another thing when I joined or requested to join your group, I got instantly an email that I have to confirm my email address. That I found pretty exciting because that means you have connected your Skool community to your CRM. Otherwise, that wouldn't happen. So,
Yeah. Yes. I was going to say, you got excited about that, man. Like you're probably one out of 1,000, right? That,
sure.
yeah. Everybody
Not
else is
just
like, oh,
me.
I got another email, right? Yeah, no, so I've been really taking it upon myself. Once again, how can I make my life, my business easier? So I've tried to, Zapier, I think a lot of people are familiar with, Zapier, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And I've set up a few Zaps to help automatically take your submission to join the group and yeah, throw it over into the newsletter, which is going to be coming out here to where that's an automated sequence that I have set up with inside my, CRM, whatever you want to call it, where it's an email campaign. And I write those letters myself, but I put them into this system and then they get put on a timeline. So it's human plus automation. But yeah, so yeah, you were sent over that. I think people like, oh wow, like this is a real thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
And it
it
makes my
looks
life
very,
easier.
yeah, and it looks very professional, I think. So other than, yeah, maybe we could adapt the thing and say something about the Skool community too. It just asked me to
Yeah.
confirm my email address, but you can exchange the text, I
No,
guess.
I mean, I think I
Mm.
asked you to forward me the message you got
Yes,
because I
yes.
didn't even know this was happening, right? Yeah, it was a side note, everyone. She messaged me and she's like, I love that thing that I just got. And I'm like, what? So I'm even
Yeah.
learning myself on some of these things that are helpful. And yeah, so that's great feedback where I got to figure that out. But once it
Mhm.
does, like, man, like that would be a great plug to send people back to, and it just makes sense, right? So
Yeah.
I still have some work to do along the lines of that, but man, I think we're making progress,
Yeah,
right?
sure. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
So we'll see what else you do, and I will definitely work on that either. So we both know Doug Bowden, our mentor,
Hmm.
and he's doing something in his Skool group where he unlocks modules when people have done the Start Here module. And
Yep.
I'm just doing the same because I think that is crazy. It's really good because otherwise you don't get people to do that. They will just skip
Yeah.
it and go into the main modules.
Exactly. And I don't know the exact stats, Dagmar, but and I haven't like talked to Doug personally about this or anything, but I think he's one of the better ones at getting I mean, you've seen the engagement in that community, right? It's off
Oh
the
yes.
charts.
Yeah.
I think less than 15, it's like just over or just under 15% of the people are at level one. Everyone else is farther along, which if you look in some of the other communities, it's like 80, 70, 80, 90%
Mhm.
of people haven't even made it to level two yet, which
Yeah.
is like doing the bare minimum, right?
Yes.
So, the way I set it up in my community to try to model, like you said, what works is we did the unlock thing that you were talking about. And also, he labels everyone as a lurker if they're there, right? Well, mine is the
Yes.
procrastinator. Like they're procrastinating, and that's probably what they're doing in their lives.
Right.
So, that's the term that we don't want to use. But yeah, I mean, it's just setting a culture around like, hey, we do stuff here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and from your bio, I've got that you are a lot into company culture, so you can translate that to community culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, you're asking if I can translate
Pardon?
it? You're asking if I can basically translate it into that's a
Yeah,
question.
I think you can.
I was just clarifying so I don't answer the
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, company culture, I think there's and then maybe you can speak to this coming from your corporate world, is like there's so few places that you can make a difference. The people have integrity on what they do, and like it's worth the time. I mean, like you get compensated, the opportunity is there, we'll say income opportunity, promotion opportunity, whatever you want to call it. But so few places have those three things. And I feel like when you nail it, it's something special.
Yeah.
So if you can translate, that's one thing that I would love to do is translate that, having those three things into a community where someone, man, they feel like they're making a difference. They're in there, they're helping other people out. They have an opportunity to scale, to grow, to better themselves. And, at the end of the day, like people say what they do what they say they're going to do, and they do it now, right?
Yes. And
Yes.
I guess it's all a habit. If you start doing it and you get into the flow, you will, I think you will hold on to that. But if you always procrastinate things, it's a habit too. So
Yes.
actually, yeah, it's normal to you. And so I really love what you're doing, and I'm pretty excited with what you come up there. So
Yeah, no, I'm stoked to have you in our community, and hopefully we can, you could be a testimonial for us here in the next couple months.
cool. Yeah, would love to.
Yeah, cool.
So when will you actually start officially?
Yes. Hey, this is me putting it out there into the world, right?
And I will hold you accountable.
There we go. There we go. Once I say it, it's true. The goal is to have it August 30th.
Mhm,
So for us to get here in 7 days, a week.
mhm,
And right now we have a big wait list where we have a bunch of people like yourself just roaring to go. So I'm gonna try to get my email automation stuff figured out so I can send a broadcast to people and let them know like, hey, we're gonna do some launch things and it's gonna be cool and I want people to, put their goals out there into the world and all that kind of stuff. Short answer, 7 days.
mhm, cool. Yeah,
Yes.
mine will go online on Monday. So,
Oh, that's exciting.
yeah, yeah.
Very
I want to
exciting.
invite you. I will have a school community launch party on Monday.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I know if I can, if because I know you're all the way around the world, right? So
yeah,
if the time lines up, I will try to make it if I can.
yeah. It's 9 p.m. my time, so it should be 3 p.m. your time, I guess. You're East Coast, right?
Yeah, you're close.
Mhm.
It's almost 5 o'clock somewhere. So
Okay.
it's almost the end of the work week for me.
Okay. Oh, now, yeah, right. Cool. So you can then, when we go off the call, you can go into the weekend too, or is there anything
Yes.
else to do? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've got some things that I got to get ready for this launch. I
yeah,
feel like I'm a little behind with, just getting things some polished and, making sure, like you said, okay, maybe it redirects to the Skool page. So, like little things like that, obviously they matter, but, the most important thing is to get started. So that's not going to keep me from starting it or anything like that. But it's
yeah.
just like, how much can I get done here this weekend because next week's pretty crazy before the launch and everything like that.
Hmm.
So that's my weekend. And then,
Yeah.
over here in the US, we're big on American football. So that
Ah,
starts
oh,
back up.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hope you can enjoy it.
Yes,
So,
yes.
before we wrap up, how can my listeners be involved in your school community? How do they reach you?
Yeah, so I don't know where you're gonna throw this out at, but you can definitely include the link to the community about page so they can take a look at it. And I mean, they can follow me wherever on social media, at my name, and we can link that down below too. But or it's on my Skool profile if you find me through there. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would say to them like, hey, if you've got something you're working on and you want to do it, but hey, maybe sometimes in the past, like life has kept you from doing the thing that you wanted to do and having that being that success story, making winning normal. Well, then, hey, come on in, state your goal, make a friend, share it with them, and then do the work. Show up, go through the courses, build some momentum. I'm going to have some accountability challenges in there, participate, and if you don't see success, like, okay, well, then let's talk about some coaching because, if you just do the work, 90% of the time, you'll see some result.
Yeah.
So anyone's welcome that is not going to be a procrastinator.
Oh, they will all do
Yes.
the work.
Yes. I love it. Cool.
So, thank you so much, Jared, for this call. This was amazing. I loved talking to you.
Yeah. Thanks
And
for having me. This was a blast.
yeah, it was. Thanks. Bye bye.
Cool. Take it easy. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Streamline Success Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and to get access to today's show notes head over to community.marketingunraveled.com. See you on the next episode.